Listen, guys, our numbers are down. I am really concerned with that.
We had that meeting on Tuesday, and again, I'm sorry to say, it was still...
Yeah, I'll take the red snapper at 37 on 2.
We're going to go goal line. Do the X39, 3 disaster.
Tonight's special is going to be an oven-baked salmon and a 32 sweep reverse for the X disaster.
You gonna get steak, right?
Yeah. Need more football? USFL launches this April.
Good evening, football fans. Welcome to this edition of Pro Football Alliance. A-Train Arlington Lane filling in for Dirty this evening. And he is handling some business right now, man. And just keep your thoughts with Dirty right now. Might have to fire him later on, and he knows it. His time might be upcoming sooner than later. Got a lot to discuss, and looking at it right now, man, everything has blown up. This is Black History Month as well. I know those that look forward to seeing the XFL STL talk show. We are taking a back seat. Those that tune in, as you can see, I got the In the Zone network taking a back seat this week. We'll be back on next week with that, and especially with everything that's going on right now in professional football, and that's not just the NFL, but spring football is getting a buzz as well. It is like big, and this is the perfect time for football fans to come together, no matter where you may lie. But also, it is kind of interesting seeing some of these stories that's coming out right now, and it is becoming it's blowing up bigger than it ever has before, especially with the story going on with Brian Flores. Joining me right now from the football world is my guy, as always, John. John, good evening to you, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm doing real good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I actually made it back to St. Louis. I'm there now because of I got to handle some stuff. But a winter storm is keeping me from going outdoors, and we don't play with black ice. We don't play with black ice.
Snow.
Nah, listen, man. Listen, I understand what up north is about. Trust me, Wisconsin just dealt with the 3 foot of snow and whatnot, but we don't play when it comes to black ice, man. Black ice is not a game. That is a game you never, ever want to play with, especially in St. Louis. I can tell you right now, where I am currently, they do not clean the streets off. This is the city, it's the hood, and they say, no, we're not going up there. We're not doing it.
Well, remember when the Dallas hosted the Super Bowl, it was like the first time it had snowed in like almost a century in the city of Dallas or something like that. And it snowed like quite a bit, like 6 or 8 inches. And they had to bring in plow trucks from like the state of Oklahoma and stuff because they don't even own this equipment.
Exactly. Hey, Houston is going to deal with this Texas freeze again this year. It's funny, though. I get out right when the freeze is about to supposedly happen. And so, I'm making – getting on a flight, being nauseous and whatnot. Good God Almighty! Never eat Whataburger and Dunkin' Donuts together ever again in life. Never ever eat that, man. Like I will see, but the thing was, when I was on my foot before I got on my flight, I was thinking, okay, I didn't know when you fly Southwest, most of the time they'll let you bring your food on the flight. I didn't know that, so I decided to pick up something and eat it at the, I ate it like literally 10 minutes after I ate my Dunkin' breakfast. So, because I'm like, I'm gonna have to have something under my stomach. I tell you one thing, I wasn't hungry for a while after that, but I got nauseous on the flight, man. Thank goodness I did not vomit or anything like that. But hey, those thank you, stewardesses. Thank you so much for taking care of me.
They got that good blue water on the airplane.
Oh, hey, and boy, you know, it was a 90-minute flight, so that was actually a blessing in disguise because they were able to serve drinks and stuff. And so if it was like anything shorter, I would have been screwed. I tell you, screwed. And it would have been really bad. I mean, I know I felt about like 30, 35 minutes in the flight. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm feeling so weak. I'm finna die. And then they came by, I'm like, please, you got any ginger ale? So it's like, yeah. And they gave me a cool thing for my neck. I was good after that. So I'm like, okay, cool.
You know, sometimes they got that what's the plop plop fizz fizz?
Oh, the Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, usually they have that on airplanes. I gotta tell you, I keep Alka-Seltzer here at the house, and I usually do a pretty good job of keeping Pepto. But that Dunkin' Donuts, not only will it gas you up, I mean, but the heartburn that it gives you, like almost effective immediately. There's something about it. It don't matter if you're eating a donut or a sausage, egg, and cheese or anything on their menu, a coffee.
You like, oh hell.
Yeah. Crazy. The damn lettuce give you heartburn from Dunkin' Donuts.
Absolutely. And but I'm okay. I'm grateful to be okay and to be here. And now I'm dealing with black ice. So, one thing to another. All right, let's get into it. And Will said it's first ice, then it's covered by snow. That's how it goes. That's why we call it black ice, because it's not a game. And I don't fool with it. Folks that's over at XFL STL, make sure you hop on over at the Pro Football Alliance. So that way, tuning in. This show is sponsored by Pack 22. Make sure you call Matt Eddington at 727-452-2645. You know, the Super Bowl, the big game is around the corner, literally. Like, you got another week, and it's here. Bengals and Rams. So if you want to get your bets in, get your account started up, call Matt 727-452-2645.
I was 2-2 this week on Pack 22. I took the let's see here. I took the over in the Bengals the Bengals Chiefs game.
Yeah.
I took the over there. I had where did I fail? Let me see here. I took the under. I got this one right. I got the under in the Rams 49ers game. That was a win for me. I missed the over. I think I missed the over on the other one. That's what it was. And I was mad because that's the one that went into overtime, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, so it was on pace to hit the over big time. And then we get the tie, and I go, oh my God, I'm like 8 points away or whatever. I said, well, now they go into overtime. If somebody scores the touchdown, it's a walk-off. So I don't get the over. I said the only way I can hit this over is if Kansas City's got to go down and hit a field goal. Cincinnati's got to come back up and hit a field goal. And then they're going to have to either go to a third possession and Kansas, one of the others got to win sudden death after that. But that was the only scenario where I could hit that over. I was so pissed. I was so close, man.
Yeah, it's like this.
Week, man, I'm almost right. And I had so I hit the over on 55 and a half yards, rushing yards by Mixon and Mixon. And then I had the damn over for Uzama at 35 and a half yards. Naturally, he gets injured on the first pass to him. So he leaves the game with 0 yards. But that's it. This week, I'm going to put like $25 bets down all over the Super Bowl.
Are you going to take on a lot of the prop bets? You know, like you know how they do for Super Bowl, the big game, excuse me. I know they're going to come after me if they can be saying that. But anyway, they're going to have like, the prop bets for like –
But here, this is something I never knew. I was looking at my computer screen on Pack 22 while I'm watching the games, and I hit the refresh button, and then all of a sudden, like every drive, new bets come up. So I can bet like who's going to get the next pass, or are they going to run the ball next? You know what I mean? Just things like that. So I think I'm going to tinker during the Super Bowl with some of those types of things, the live action bets where like, they punt and then of course immediately like 5 new bets pop up for the next drive. Will there be a fumble on this drive? And it shows you the odds. It's really cool to kind of navigate through. And I live in Maryland and gambling's always been illegal here. So I've kind of missed that boat, but now we can ship it.
Hey, Stacy said that you're going to do all the bets. Yes, even I remember this as a prep, as an actual prop bet. You could bet what color Gatorade would be thrown on the coach during the Super Bowl. It depends on whoever is wearing white.
Isn't it always orange though? Don't they always?
Not always. There has been yellow, and very rarely they'll throw the red in. And I haven't seen blue. I haven't seen blue thrown on yet, but you got a various amount of colors that you could choose from.
How about this? They're gonna have prop bets. Do you think guess like which one of like Snoop Dogg's or Dr. Dre or Eminem's songs are like covered? Because usually like they'll cover a song for like 30 seconds worth. They spit one verse and then like they'll totally change the beat and go to another song.
Right.
I bet they're gonna have like parlays where you can pull the clips like
the longest song. Who gets the most?
Killers, you know what I mean? Dre Day. What they gonna do? Man?
Hey, Stacey, you said yellow would look like pee on a white uniform. Ask Bill Parcells. He was thrown with yellow Gatorade when the Giants won the Super Bowl.
First coach to get it.
He got the first Gatorade bath, so it lets you know right there. But yeah, these are some of the prop bets that will stay in this. How long the anthem is sung, who's going to make the first score of the game, and of course the color of the victory Gatorade. Now those are some of them. They'll have a bunch of them.
You can bet the coin toss.
You can bet the coin toss, and that's the cool thing about this time of the year is that everything is up for grabs. I wonder what's going to happen in the future. If they go for other games, even during the regular season, like the Thursday night kickoff game. You know what I mean? How long the anthem is going to be sung or something like that.
100%.
Yeah, I think that will work. And I know here in St. Louis, which I'm still kind of pissed off about it, is because how do you have a sports betting radio station in town, but you can't have any sports betting in the state? You're in Missouri. There's no sports betting, but you got a sports betting radio station here. It's stupid. It's god awful. But yes, that's another one. Themed Super Bowl foods. What will be the biggest hit?
Okay, so do you have plans? Do you and your wife have plans for what you're doing?
Not at the moment. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to be here. If so, I'm going to go. When I say my church in Houston has like a big bash for Super Bowl, I'm probably going to go with them. They're going to have a projector screen and they're going to have nothing but food out there. I'm trying to get back there so I can watch.
So we're going to do a 5-way Cincinnati chili, which is basically it's chili over spaghetti noodles, and then so that's 2 of the 5 ways, and then the other 3 are shredded cheese.
Yep. Onions.
Chopped raw onions, like usually white onions. You do red onions if you want, or yellow, whatever. And then the third thing is it's chili. The beans.
Exactly. And because I know the Steak and Shake restaurant is big on the chili 5-way. Now,
that's a Cincinnati thing. So we're in honor of the Bengals. We're going to do that, and then to represent LA, I looked it up. Arlington, would you believe the most popular food purchased like outside of people's homes when they go out and eat? Pho. So I'm gonna make pho. That was what Taylor Rusolino was saying when we had him when he did the show last year, the end of the year. They were talking about pho, and I think it was Greg James had hopped on. He said, "Hey, ask him about such and such." I think it was you that asked him about the pho in L.A. So you said, him,
it was Taylor.
Well, because I used to live out there, and Garden Grove has a very big Vietnamese population. And that's their food. You know what I mean? So like there are pho joints like there are Chinese joints in Prince George's County, Maryland. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Yeah.
So chili and pho, we're gonna find out how badly chili and pho clash in your digestive system. but we're going to keep them both beef. We're not going to cross-contaminate meats. The thing is about pho, and I read a few 5-star rated recipes with videos and all that and trustworthy recipes that I found online. It's going to take 4 hours just to make the broth for the pho.
4 hours?
Well, yeah, it's a 3-hour boil. You got to put a 3-pound brisket into boil at a simmer for 3 hours, and then you got to remove it. But then you got to add like beef bones in. So you got to buy like maybe not porterhouses, but like something like the porterhouse is the New York strip with the fillet on it. Is that what that is?
Yeah, you want the fillet.
Just something that's got a good amount of marrow and bone to it. You got to boil that in for another hour and then remove that while you're removing all the brine, the scum and all that builds up.
That sounds fantastic. Like
it's going to be really good. And so I'm going to record. Vince is going to be here. He's going up Friday night. We're going to pick him up at the Pittsburgh airport. We might do another little tour of Pittsburgh, see the University of Pitt, Heinz Field, where the Pirates play. Maybe we'll do another AFW Olympics.
Okay.
Revenge.
Okay. Yeah, man. And that is the big thing that they talk about in Cincinnati is their chili. So, I would love to see how that would taste. And of course, the pho, I'm seeing the pho. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta have some of this. I was looking at some pictures of it. It's consisted of broth, rice, noodles, herbs, and meat. For those that don't know what pho really consists of, but it looks really fantastic. And that is now a Super Bowl food. I mean, it has been. The Rams have had it. This is twice now. They were in against the Patriots in that god awful Super Bowl. But
what other Super Bowl foods did they?
What they were against the Patriots, they won 13-3, and what's considered the worst Super Bowl of all time by many. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to this Skyline Chili, see how that's working out. And of course, I think Mayor Butts and I can't think of Cincinnati Mayor's name off the top. They'll make a wager of sorts. They always do those between now and Super Bowl time. We're going to see what this Skyline Chili is all about, Mike. That's for sure. ESPN is doing a sports betting show. Yeah, and so is Fox. Fox does Fox Bet with Clay Travis, and so everybody's going to be getting in on who has the better dish, you know what I'm saying, representing the Super Bowl team. So I'm more than excited for the Bengals, seeing them get there to since we on it now. I know a lot of people. I was listening to a sports radio in Houston, even from St. Louis, and shout out to my man Big Sarge. He was saying that the Bengals wouldn't have got past a healthy Baltimore, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know.
Didn't they beat a healthy Baltimore? Didn't they beat Lamar?
They did beat Lamar Jackson.
In the middle of the season, like week 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
But it's like they beat them before, and I'm like, they probably would have done it again. Of course, they're division rivals and whatnot. But I am more proud of getting Joe Burrow where he's at now. He is potentially the MVP of the year if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get it before he does.
So you're real quick, your church function that you may go watch the Super Bowl at, is that going to be like a potluck thing where like everybody, you sign up and you write down like what dish you're going to bring? Is it that kind of function? Because I have been to a church Super Bowl watch party before.
Yes.
In my neighborhood, and it was a pretty much, they'd have a list of suggested things. Like you could just cross off chips or cups or napkins.
I hope my lady is watching, because when I say that my church has a bunch of everybody cooks, just you got chefs, you got caterers, they handle all of that. So it's like there will be no issues. And I've tasted a lot of their food, and it is fantastic. So
you personally, you guys won't be bringing your own big.
It depends. If they ask her to make something, she will make it. She can do both, but she's really good on the baked goods, like pies and cakes and all that kind of stuff. Like she can throw down. I will not put it past anybody. And in my relationships, my current one is the best cook. I love my other ones, but she can throw down. I will put her up against anybody, like seriously.
And
but
if you ask any Dominican person, I'm half Dominican, right?
Yeah.
You ask any Dominican on the planet to show up to one of these parties, it's going to be one of those 36-inch long trays that are like 18 inches wide, and like the bottom half, like the bottom inch and a half of it is going to be some form of Dominican rice, and it's going to be smothered in either some sort of chicken or beef or pork, likely. It's guaranteed. Like there is no other Dominican options. It's got to be rice and some sort of bulk meat. That's what we do.
Hey, Mike got this comment. He said, I would take In-N-Out burger covered in Skyline chili. Don't at me.
Ooh,
it sounds good.
There was one In-N-Out burger that I'm aware of on like the East Coast over here, and that was in the basement of the Borgata Casino, I believe, in Atlantic City. That's the only time I can ever find In-N-Out, and I believe it's right next to a Fat Burger in the Borgata. So it's like dueling LA burger joints in a New Jersey casino. I'd go there to ship it on the poker table, and I'd lose a couple hundred. I'd need to go get a burger in my life. But that was there's the option to put chili on it. It ain't Cincinnati chili, but you can do that at the Borgata.
Wow. Hey, but before we get into it, big ups to Matthew Stafford, OBJ. They're getting in, especially Matthew Stafford. He's getting in his first time in 13th. I think it's 13th season. He's getting there for the first time, and of course OBJ. Everybody's been talking and ragging on him, and here he is in the biggest stage at home. And right now, the Rams are the second team in NFL history to have a Super Bowl in their home stadium. So, of course. One of the greatest of all time, of the greatest of this era, in my opinion, Tom Brady retired as well. 22 seasons, 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, lots of cheating. But at the same time, it's one thing you have to understand with this, John, it's a new era of football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once Aaron Rodgers retires, then it's complete. It's an entirely new era where we are in. We're in the 21st century now, but the decade that we're in is going to be pretty much everybody from 2010 on is what we're looking at. And happy retirement to Tom for sure, and everybody else that's with him as well.
Now Stafford, I consider him part of that old guard too. I think I don't know how many years he has left on his deal, but I can't imagine he has too many left on his biological clock. I don't think he pulls a Brady and goes into his mid-40s.
Yeah.
Well, who else is up there? Russell Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers is the other, because I think when he come in 2005, I believe.
Yeah, he's
2004.
I think
2004.
He's 38.
Yeah, he's 38 now. So
he's now the oldest quarterback, I believe, since Brady walked away. I think Aaron is the oldest. Russell Wilson's 33 or 34 now.
Yeah, which is true, but also at the same time,
Matt Ryan is 36.
Yeah, and they were all 09 guys. 09, 2010. Trying to think. A lot of those guys that are coming in, they are going to be mid-30s and whatnot, heading toward the end. I can't see Russell old, though.
Ben was the same draft as Rodgers, because that was Jason Campbell, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, and somebody else, right? Am I right? Weren't they the same year?
Let's see. Yeah. Wilson will be 33 at the start of this upcoming year, whatever team that he plays for, whether it be the Seahawks or outside of that. Said Ryan Tannehill's old guard? Really?
Yeah, he's same draft as Kirk Cousins and RG3 and Andrew Luck.
Yeah, he'll be 34.
Those four are already retired. Well, Russell Wilson was that same draft.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, Tannehill, RG3, Cousins.
Yeah, and Matt Ryan, because I'm gonna say me and Matt Ryan are about the same age. You know what I mean? So, Well, I'm a little older than he is. Case Keenum. But see, he's not a starter though.
No,
Or
never
is
was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't put Case Keenum.
Carson Wentz is in his 30s right now. He's missed half his career.
Still kind of young, and so because it's aging him.
If you take away that top 5 or 6 guys, the old guys that we can identify as very good players that still probably have a couple years left, if you remove those guys, the age drop off is huge right now in the NFL. And I tell you what, the oldest of the young guys is now Dak. He's going to be the old man in like 2 more years. You watch. He's 28, I believe, and he's going to be in a league full of 25, 26-year-olds and less.
Yeah. He'll be 29 when season begins. So
there you go.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, Bert. Remember someone saying Washington's nickname will be the defenders in the NFL. We're going to buy the Battlehawks in. Yeah. Now, if you watched the shows, it was said speculation, and that's our sister show, XFL STL. So you're not gonna sit here and pin my guy to the wall like that. I'm not going to let you do
Once
it.
again, we were right. Again, we said Commanders, and look at where we are.
Hey, so real talk, man, as we talking about it, how are you really feeling about this name, the Washington Commanders, man? Like, are we serious right now, man? Like,
I looked at all 3. I think they put up 3 or maybe 4 versions of their uniform. And in case that nobody knows, guys, I am a Washingtonian. I'm a Washington Redskins diehard fan. Okay, it's been my team since pretty much birth. Although I like every team that plays football at any level, the Washington Redskins were always my favorite team. Very upset that they got their name taken away. I was prepared to move forward with just WFT, Washington Football Team. They kept the look, the WFT look. They've changed a little bit of the color schemes a little bit. I don't think the round logo that says established 1932, it's got the 5 championship years on it. It's got the 3 stars for the city of DC, which the Defenders were using, by the way. They beat them to that punch. There's a lot to like about the look. I didn't like the black look at first because it had the W on the crown of the helmet. But then I saw another picture of Antonio Gibson wearing it from a slightly different angle. I saw that the W was actually a lot smaller at that crown of the helmet, and they have the numbers on the side of the helmet, the players' numbers. So that made a little bit more sense, and that justified that look. It made me change from not really digging it to saying, you know what, it ain't bad. They're easy to make fun of. I've heard them all. I've read them all on Twitter. I've already gone through Twitter. Everybody, oh, yeah, they're the commies. It's going to be commies versus Cowboys. Or, they've renamed them to the team that used to kill Redskins. And really, yeah, sure, I've heard all of your corny jokes. Winning. You know what makes people stop making fun of the team is winning. So if Ron Rivera can just get to win some games that matter, they're going to do just fine.
Exactly. Jared is saying, do you think the Chiefs, Chicago Blackhawks, Brady becoming future with name changing? Probably so, at the rate that this is going. Just think about baseball. Just think about baseball.
What's the difference between Cleveland Indians and Kansas City Chiefs or Florida State Seminole? I never understood why some teams seem to have to be forced into the change where maybe they have some woke guy at the school or whatever. It's like, you know what, we should just change. But what's the difference? Some people have said, oh, well, they have the blessing from the Blackhawks tribe or the blessing from the Seminoles tribe. Well, guess what? I was a Redskins fan and you ain't got my blessing. So change. We got to change. Change.
Funny story. In St. Louis, my grade school, they literally changed their name. They were the River Roads Raiders for years until when that controversy came out about the Redskins, they changed their name to the Falcons immediately, just like that. Just like that. I could not believe it. I was like, I kid you not, John, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, as long as I live on this earth, I will always be a River Roads Raider. As long as I live, I'm not going to sit there. I can't accept a Falcon. A Falcon? Seriously?
Now here's a okay. So I got the similar experience. So I went to a Catholic school, St. Jude. Three of my 4 kids go there today in Montgomery County, Maryland, and we were called the Red Devils. Our logo, and if you didn't know, Duke University is the Blue Devils. They're also a Catholic institution. Okay,
right.
We're called the Blue Devils. So our logo was the exact same logo except it was red. All right, but we got a principle that was a little light in the wrist. If you pick up what I'm putting down, okay, and the first move she made was to put up a poll. It was like before the internet was able to put up polls. She sent out a bubble sheet with about a half a dozen options of what we want our new logo to be, our new name and logo. And now it looks like the Georgetown Bulldog. It's the St. Jude's Bulldog.
Oh my gosh!
I got it in the other room.
Man.
I have the big.
Oh my gosh! I couldn't even. I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom that at all, man. Because
well, Georgetown's got a nice Catholic presence to it as well. The DC is the first archdiocese in the United States was in the state of Maryland. So
right.
The Washington, Baltimore area is extremely Catholic in the most part. So anyway, we had to make the switch.
God bless them, man. God bless.
That was 1992.
God bless, man. You said bubble sheets, man.
She was woke way before it was popular, man.
God, dog, man. Let's. Hey, this is the biggest story by far. Is Brian Flores, as we continue with the NFL, launching a class action lawsuit. Now, a little part of me is like this. Because I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I was funny. It was in another group, and it was saying, of course, please Google what's going on right now with the class action lawsuit. A lot of people are saying that the NFL's in trouble, and it'd be great to see the NFL get in trouble. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? But what does this do for Brian Flores? Brian Flores is the one that's coming out here and saying that this is what happened. He's literally, if everything is what's said is true, he's revealing the curtain from behind and saying that these things were happening as I was trying to get a coaching job. And they saying that this whole thing with the Rooney Rule, which I think is a bunch of crap anyway, because if that's the case, why is there only one head coach in the game? And granted as well, John, I seen the Tony Dungy stuff when he was saying that owners should not be persuaded by fans about making choices for gigs. Like why guys like Eric Bieniemy and Leslie Frazier and Hugh Jackson are not getting gigs in the NFL. And so if Brian Flores want to set him up for that type of, I guess blackballing at this point, then that's on him.
I have a few theories, but for now, I'll just stick with the facts. The facts are that Brian Flores was in fact let go. It seemed like a oddball firing, like kind of caught people by surprise because it didn't happen on Black Monday, which is normally the day, like if you're going to fire your coach, it's done on Black Monday. And Black Monday, for those that don't know, is the day after the final week of the regular season. It's
right.
Half a dozen teams let go of their coaches on Black Monday. The Giants did it. Chicago did it. Everybody was doing it. Mike Zimmer was gone from Minnesota. A couple teams had already let their coaches go. The Raiders had their thing. They had the thing in Jacksonville. But he was kind of let go like a week later or like 2 weeks later or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Later or something like that. So it was kind of weird. And then the first thing we heard was that the management wanted to trade for Deshaun Watson. And then we heard he wanted to trade for Deshaun Watson, but management didn't. And then we heard that he spoke not so nice to Tua out loud in front of other players. Like, it was like kind of like, hey, bro, you suck, dude. You know what I mean? And made Tua feel awkward or something. Like it's like every day there was like another weird part of why he was let go. And then a week after that kabooey. Now this is the Nagasaki, Hiroshima, the big bomb, is that evidently Mr. Ross was offering him money to tank. So he and he didn't want to do it. And on one hand, you can say, all right, if he can look back, hindsight's 50-50. If he looks back and says, okay, well, let's just say I tanked for Mr. Ross and I went 2-15 and we get the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft, he might fire me anyway because I finished 2-15. You know what I mean? Way out of the playoffs. And now maybe they want a different quarterback and they want a different coach to coach him. Because remember, Brian Flores came into the season with 2 different offensive coordinators. They had an offensive coordinator for the run game and the pass game. So that was kind of a weird situation. So it's like the management, Greer, the general manager, Greer, I can't remember his first name. He's probably like, I don't know. I don't really want to work with two offensive coordinators. Maybe he wasn't feeling it. And if he thought somebody else needed to come in maybe offensively and take over. But the manner in which they've handled this thing was terrible. But listen, so if he finishes 2-15, that's one thing. You probably get fired anyway because no coach finishes 15 and keeps their job. But if he wins, which he did, he won 7 games in a row, and then they lost the dead last game. They could have gone to the playoffs, I believe, if they'd have just won that last game. But do the playoffs at this point, if this is what's really going on in this organization, does that playoff victory bring him back to a 4th season? No coach in Miami has made it beyond 3 seasons, the last 4 head coaches in Miami. None. 0. He's the 4th one. This whole thing smells like fish to me, man.
Something ain't right. Something is not right with the whole thing. Now, I am going to – the reason why I'm the only way Brian Flores wins this if he has some receipts. If everything he has is true and he has something to back it up. Oh my goodness. You thought the Rams thing was crazy. And I find it funny that people these days are laughing at the $790 million because it represents 7 and 9 with Jeff Fisher. Now they're trying to get Jeff Fisher to come out and say, hey, if everything he said was true, you could tell on Stan Kroenke for having you tank games to get people ready for St. Louis. But that damage is already done. And even with that whole situation right now, he's sat back on these interview shows and said, I still want to coach in the NFL. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, you just revealed, I guess, because come on, we sit here all day and say NFL is a mafia, is a big mafia game. You know, they keep things in secret, and anything comes out, somebody's gonna get it. Real talk, somebody's gonna get it. But even now, it comes to a point where you will have to. It's either paying for the consequences or change is going to be made. And a lot of times the NFL, when they do change, it's in small increments. The Rooney Rule, that's a small increment. It didn't work. Because if that's the case, 1 out of 32 is very bad. And then you just were going after Jim Harbaugh for the Vikings, and now he's going back to Michigan. Something ain't right here. Something is really not right. I do applaud Mike Tomlin, the 18 years that he's been 19 years he's been in Pittsburgh. 16 years. No, 15 years. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. 15 seasons that he's been there. And you got to remember, Pittsburgh Steelers have had winning seasons all the way since 1970. And they only had 3 head coaches.
You're a well-ran organization in Pittsburgh. 3
head coaches since the merger.
That's crazy.
That's pretty damn good.
And I think he'll get another 15 if he wants them. To be honest,
if he wants it, he'll probably take it.
he is officially, just so you know, he is officially my favorite NFL coach, and I think he will if he sticks around another 15 years, if he wants to. And that team does not like fall apart at the management level, he will retire with the most wins in NFL history as a head coach. That is my bold prediction for Mike Tomlin. You heard it from me, and that's probably something you've never heard anybody else say.
I would have never. I mean, and people like don't diss what Mike Tomlin has done over his 15 seasons. Granted, he won a Super Bowl with it, but to have a winning season in every year that you've been an NFL head coach is phenomenal. Bill Belichick can't even say that.
Well, and here's I don't want to go way out into left field because this topic is about Brian Flores. And,
it's about Flores.
State of football. But I think what really benefited Mike Tomlin, which a lot of African-American coaches have not had the same benefit of, is that I believe he had an injury very quickly in college. So he joined in coaching at a very young age. So he was able to get that interview at a very young age. He spent, I think, 1 year as a DB coach in Minnesota, maybe 2, under, I can't even remember who was there at the time but he had already had a relationship with Dungy and Bowles, I think maybe. And they hired him off the bat. In Pittsburgh, they said, "You got the job. We like the sound of you." And so he got that head coaching gig at a young age, and he's been able to never look back. I think a lot of times, a lot of ex-players especially, they don't end their playing career until they're in their 30s, somewhere in their 30s. So by the time they go into coaching, there's a bunch of guys in front of them that have already been coaching for 5, maybe 10 years.
Exactly.
Look at a guy like Mike Mcdonald, the offensive coordinator in San Francisco. He's 41, and he's already been coaching in the NFL for 20 years. He graduated high school and went immediately. So, got some sort of gig being an assistant, and he's got 20 years experience. Of course he's being interviewed for a head coaching gig now. He's been around a while, whereas I think a lot of players, if you played – unless you're like Tomlin, you got injured early, you start your head coaching career late. It kind of puts you behind the 8 ball a little bit. I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying it might be part of the reason some have a hard time landing these gigs. They're taking more tenured guys. I don't know.
But that's the thing. There are a lot of tenured guys that are in the league right now, and they're not even getting the sniff. So, and that's what's alarming at this point. And when Tomlin and let's not forget, when Tomlin came in to Pittsburgh, he was practically gift wrapped a good situation where it wasn't going to be bad when he started. And that is the thing with a lot of these coaches when they get in, they give you, I'm saying, all right, here our team is, it's a mess. Clean it up, see if you can make it. We'll give you a year to see if you can get it done. If you can't, you're gone. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, you're not even giving it a chance to build. That's like college coaches. When you're bringing in for your program, a lot of the times when your team, especially we're talking Division I big programs, Power 5 schools, when they have a bad streak or whatnot, such as maybe a USC, UCLA, and I'm just using them as an example, you have to bring in a guy to help build that program back up. It's going to take a couple of years. Well, not these days, it wasn't, but back in the past, it would take a couple of years to build that program back up and to make it work. And a lot of times they had short fuses.
And here's another thing is like, okay, look at some of the coaches that have been one and done as far as being given a head coaching opportunity, and then they get let go from that team. We saw it happen with Todd Bowles for the New York Jets. It happened with Raheem Morris in Tampa. We've seen some guys not get a chance. Really, the only guy that's had multiple chances that I can think of, there's only a couple, is Dennis Green and Ray Rhodes. Those are the two that immediately come to my brain. And, of course, you had Dungy, who went from one successful team to another successful run and won in pretty much both places. You know what I mean? Most people will tell you John Gruden won with his team. But Sometimes I think that they're dumped into a horrible organization. It's always a bad team, except for Tomlin. It's always usually a bad team that gets them and says, okay, figure it out, right? But if they're a bad team, I can tell you right now, Todd Bowles had a terrible run with general managers in the Jets. Look at who his quarterbacks were. It was like Cleo,
right.
Lemon and shit like that. You know what I mean? He never had a legit quarterback there. He had disgruntled players that said, get me out of here. I want to renegotiate my deal or just trade me. You know what I mean? How do you deal with it? You can't win on the Jets with that. Raheem Morris, he had that sophomore year. Who's that quarterback that he had a good sophomore year? He was terrible his rookie season and then terrible his third season. Had that decent run. He went 10-6 with the kid. He's a monster. He's like 6'6", 260. Big kid in Tampa. Got hurt, and then we never seen him again. I think he ended up
not Johnson.
Light skinned guy.
Oh God, it's there.
Yeah, he was a good kid. Nice, you know what I mean? Like a good demeanored kid. But it fell apart in his third season and got hurt, and then we never saw him again. And so Raheem Morris, they can't.
Freeman. That's it.
Yeah, Josh Freeman. Thank you very much. Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
And I think sometimes you get an unfair situation. It's like if somebody in your family dies and wills you their business, but it was a failing business that had terrible Yelp reviews, and they said, here, I'm giving this to you, Arlington. Don't ever say I never gave you nothing. Right? Exactly. You can't reverse all those bad reviews you've had and all the angry customers that still think that company, I don't care who the owner is, you still owe me money. You still haven't finished my roof or whatever the situation is. I dropped my car off there. They were lousy. It took them 6 months and still didn't change the carburetor.
Exactly. All right. Now that Brian Flores' stuff has come out with that, I want to throw this in. These are names. And, we talk about the XFL and looking for announcements and whatnot. These are some of the names that we have down here that could be XFL targets. And we're speaking about, you see down there, XFL announcements coming soon, February 13th. What will they be? Just the announcement of probably the cities that are coming back into play. But here you see names, that could be targets. I think Freeman is in a good place with Notre Dame right now. Byron Leftwich, of course, he wants to coach in the NFL. Raheem Morris, I could see being an XFL coach. I think Gerard Mayo wants to get a shot at the NFL. Marcus Brady, definitely look at XFL. Todd Bowles, probably the same for him as well. If nobody takes him, because I think those that look at those type of jobs, they actually get more power than what an NFL head coach gets unless they are maintained, or unless they get a general manager gig to go along with it. February 13th is Super Bowl Sunday. That's what it is.
And The Rock has already announced that he will have an
announcement. Then that's the special announcement.
And okay, so if Brett's asking, Brett, what the Rock put up a post, if you look about 2 or 3 days ago on his Twitters and Instagrams and all that, because he posts the same stuff at the same time on all these things, or somebody does for him.
Somebody has a good link tree is what they have.
Yeah. There's a way to figure it out. I'm just too stupid to figure it out. But what he did say is that it was right around the time where he released that Joe Burrow post. And he said something like, I'll be able to be fulfilling, I never got to live my dream as an NFL player, but I'll be releasing news. And it had something to do with helping other guys maintain their dreams. So it sounded like an inevitable, a big XFL commercial, a high production XFL commercial. Now, you started this show with a USFL commercial, and I think maybe you got another one. I don't know. But
it's the old one. It's the old one that started from the beginning. You know what I mean? So
I got you. But I have a feeling if he's going to wait until the Super Bowl to give us a commercial, it's going to be a juicy one. They're going to not go for the 30-second variety. It's going to be a full-on 60 seconds of madness, a high production. It is going to be like watching Ballers meets, Last Chance U within 60 seconds. And we might see
I think it's going to be longer than that. I think it's going to be longer than that.
A whole break?
And you can get it, and you can either watch YouTube will drop these commercials before they hit.
Ended version?
No. Well, yeah, we'll get the Super Bowl is probably the edited version, but you can go to YouTube and you can watch the full version.
Follow XFL on YouTube right now for the bigger version.
or anywhere, you know what I'm saying? It'll be dropped somewhere, and more than likely XFL is where it's going to be dropped at. Because the game is on NBC this year, right? If he does drop it on NBC, drop the commercial during the NBC telecast, it's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? And so, and I know, and plus, when Dirty had made his speculation about that, the speculation was that he wasn't even supposed to publicly say it in front of a camera or anything. He's supposed to say it at the event. But of course, that did not happen. So, and I'm cool with that, because I stated on this show that was going to happen sometime between now and the Super Bowl. And even if he drops it at the Super Bowl, why not? Why not drop it then?
Well, he says he doesn't want to wait till the 13th.
He'll be all right. Brett will be all right, just like everybody else.
We talked about it a little bit before. You've got a whole week of media extravaganza called Radio Row leading up to the Super Bowl. Who's to say that he couldn't take every day? I'm talking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then every day walk down all those aisles and give every company one piece of information about the league, and then come back on Tuesday and share a second thing to all these media things. So like maybe on day one, he gives us 4 coaches. On day 2, he gives us 4 more coaches. On day 3, he starts telling us, new teams or what new cities, or Thursday, what the actual teams' names are or something. You know what I mean? He could do this a few different ways, and then kablamo on the Super Bowl, like you're talking about, the big picture commercial. I think that is kind of what we're going to be looking at, is him taking advantage of all that free advertising on Radio Row leading up to a paid commercial on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh man, you're looking at something that could be massive, and what better place to do it than Super Bowl Sunday?
Can you see him? Can you see him walking down Radio Row and then like crossing paths with like Moose Johnston from the USFL? He'd probably smooch him like back
and put his hand on his shoulder and say, "Hey."
Give him the
put his hand on his shoulder, put a big hand on his shoulder, but like, game on. You know what I'm saying? Game on, bitches, or something,
Just go to his body real quick, you know what I mean?
Hey, I'm gonna scare the crap out of him. You know what I mean? So
that's what you're looking at.
Oh, hey, he could just walk Radio Row just to cause a stir. He don't even have to say anything. You know what I mean? You have endless possibilities with these moments. And plus, it would be wrong to go through LA's Radio Row, and not say anything, and not say a word.
And I don't know to set up much in LA, but I mean, for all the Hollywood events they have, isn't that where like all these stupid show reward shows take place, like your Oscars and your Grammys and all those stupid things that I never watch? Like, they have all these great halls that you can host things like Radio Row in these venues. Like the biggest Comic-Con, like the Comic-Con convention, isn't it in LA, or is that San Diego?
That's in San Diego. San Diego Comic-Con is what everybody
LA
knows.
is probably like second to Vegas as far as like throwing conventions in very nice weather places. So you got to imagine there's going to be some nice setups and some people are going to be like him. They're going to be wanting to go around and sell their product, schlep it as for free as possible. And a guy that's got the gift of gab like him, he's going to be spilling some beans leading up to the game.
Yeah, I think it would do him well to spill, just like give little nuggets on Radio Row. And plus, you say what?
Who's going to win? Who do you got winning real quick?
Of what?
The game. Who's going to win the game?
The Bengals, baby. Come on,
yes.
man.
You are correct.
I'm cheering for the Bengals, man. Are you kidding me?
You are real news.
Are you kidding me, man? You think I'll ever cheer for the Rams? I ain't gonna like. Don't get me wrong. I love the players, but as long as Georgia Frontier and Stan Kroenke has their names etched in that history, screw the both of them.
Well, that's a good question, actually, to ask you. And I don't know if you've ever said this to any of your fans that listen on a regular basis. Like,
This is it right here. You're the Tiger.
Well, what do you think? You're the Tiger. I am the Tiger. You're of the Tiger. Burrow should have a commercial. What is the percentage of St. Louis football fans that like want to have nothing to do with the Rams anymore? Is it like a 50,
oh my gosh,
80,
it
20,
is.
20?
I could show you just on STL Twitter alone how bad they don't like the Rams. There are Rams fans that like them no matter what. And it is literally, I want to say it's split down the middle.
That's what I thought. It would probably be down the middle.
It's down the middle because there are still people that like the Rams today, despite the fact that they're gone, because they're going to cheer for them no matter what. And then you got the downright hatred. I honestly don't care. They left. I knew back in 2015 that they were leaving. I had to play it in my brain and play like that they weren't going to. But I got a tip that was already stating that they were gone. Because you don't walk away from, and Dirty has said it so many times when he done the XFL STL talk show, you don't walk away from $2.2 billion in value and you remain in St. Louis. It shoots up just the minute that you say LA Rams. So you'd be dumb not to do that. And granted, the colossal of the stadium, it seems like everything is falling into place for him. So, but to see him lose in his own stadium would just be super joy to my eyes. It happened once, but then again, you know, when you get a second chance, then things can turn around. I know I'm rooting for the Bengals hard, and I'm pretty much going to be out of my seat the entire game. But if I'm looking at what the Rams have and what they didn't have the time that they went before, it's a whole lot better than it was. So, but the Bengals are, if the Bengals know what's up, they come ready to play because this is their first time actually being there. I know for the Rams, some of them are their first time. You can see OBJ, Matthew Stafford, and whatnot. But some of them guys have played in the Super Bowl, so they know what that feels like. Aaron Donald knows what that feels like. Burrow and that rest of that team, I'll say 90% of the team, don't know what that feels like. 95%, they don't know that. This is a whole different experience. Now, Joe plays like a veteran all day. He's a vet. He plays like a vet.
He's Joe Cool right now, man.
Exactly. And so everything will come when that ball is kicked off at Sophie Stadium, February 13th at 5:07 or 3:07 Pacific Standard Time, whenever the game starts. You know, you'll know who is going to be out there, who's going to take it, who's going to want it more.
So speaking of want it more, I'm sure you follow a lot of the same people that I do on Twitter and things like that. Have you noticed, speaking of want it more, some players have come out and say, can't wait for my USFL opportunity, and announce that they have are part of the draft pool.
Right.
Do you think the USFL, not to switch gears to spring football.
Yeah, switch it up, man. That's what we do here.
Do you think they're going to do what the XFL did and the USFL did and announce maybe some quarterbacks allocations and then have their draft, or do you think everybody's on the board?
I think everybody's on the board at this point. And I don't even think – I know they said – I think somewhere I heard that they were going to stream. I don't even think they should. Go ahead and do one of them old school secret drafts. Put everybody's name down. You got the pool. Those that are available. If you make yourself known that you want to participate in the USFL, you are part of the draft pool. And so if not, then we'll move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Will Freeman says your boy. Come get your boy. There he is.
Yeah. Spicer. Yeah. Spicer is one of those guys.
The spice rack has returned.
Yeah. So, go for it, man.
What are you doing? Are you doing blow? Are you doing bumps over
No,
there?
I don't do that. I don't do that kind of stuff. You kidding me? But not that. Come on, man. No. You never use that. No, sir. But anyway.
3,000 in the draft pool. Wow. 8 teams, a 38-player roster. Let's do a couple of quick math problems here. 8 times 40 is 320.
That's off the cuff.
2 is 16. 320 minus 16 is 304. So they've got 100 times the amount of players they need for a draft, that only 300 players. 300.
And then not to mention, so we're looking at 360 players because you got to remember the 7 practice players as well.
All right, okay, yeah. So 8 times 4.5. What are we looking at? So 8 times 40 is 360. 8 times 5 is 40. 360. That's 360. Yeah. Good job. You Google that shit.
Hey man, quick math is good for me, dude. It's funny. I'm sitting there, I'll be helping my niece out sometimes with her. She's like, "How did you get that?" I'm like, "Man, quick math is so much fun. I guarantee you practice it a little bit."
Well, who's killing it? By the way, have you ever seen those little videos where an American kid doing a math problem next to a Japanese kid next to a Korean kid?
Yeah. What?
Oh, the Koreans are smoking the world in math.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like the way that they do like multiplication and division, it's like they just look that they put it up differently, they calculate it differently. It blows my mind how quick they go through it versus the process we're taught in third grade was long division, right? Fourth, maybe?
Exactly. And they type 90 words a minute. It don't matter male or female. They type fast as hell.
Well, now kids are doing that before they're even able to walk.
Just for their phones alone, you know what I'm saying? They
lack of parenting in America says, here's a phone, shut up. Let me know when I need to change your diaper.
Oh God,
that's parenting in the United States.
But hey,
go ahead.
One of the major things that I did want to discuss about the USFL though was about this, giving staff and players options for free college courses, and I'm thinking that's what the AAF was trying to do the first time. The difference was the funding. Remember, the funding was coming from, at the time, it was from Reggie Fowler for the most part. And of course, he got in trouble with the law. But since Fox is handling that, it's going to be a bit easier of sorts. And as a matter of fact, if you didn't check it out on the USFL website, here's what they had to say about it.
What the league is offering is an opportunity for the players and the staff involved in the USFL to complete their 4-year college education or to go on and get their master's.
We're excited to be partnering with Strayer and affording our players with an opportunity to continue to pursue their degrees, whether it be an undergraduate degree or an advanced degree.
It's an amazing opportunity, and not just for the players, but for the staff as well.
You cross paths with former players that just don't have anything. They haven't gone back. They didn't get that degree. It's been 10 years, it's been 20 years.
We have a full program of tuition, free, no strings attached, and we're going to offer this to all of our players, every member of our staff to take advantage of this for a BA or a master's.
And so when you look at having the opportunity, being at this young age, some of them are stepping away from school right now to step in and pursue this opportunity because physically you have a limited window that you can play this game professionally.
We think it is something that's going to revolutionize professional leagues.
We're going after some younger players, so to be able to do that, to have that in place, if you're a JUCO player and you just don't see a 4-year university in your future and you'd like to chase your football dream, you can come to the USFL and we can still help you get that degree.
That's a league that cares about who their employees are.
It really sets the tone that we care about the players. We want to benefit them not just through providing this platform, this professional football league for them to continue to develop, for them to live out their dreams of being a professional football player, but more importantly, what we're looking to do for them after they leave the league. So advancing their education, putting them in a position to be gainfully employed after their playing career is over with. I think we're fully committed to that.
Okay, first of all, that music in the background was dramatic as fuck.
Hey, and that's
I didn't know if I wanted to shoot heroin or go out back and shoot myself or what. I thought I was watching a Hallmark movie for a second there. But
and that's courtesy of Fox Sports and, of course, the USFL on Twitter.
But what I will say, Arlington, is that I'm so happy that the league actually finally put some of their personalities out there, even in those tiny little stretches, 10, 20-second little blurbs here, and just said, yes, here we are. This is what we're going to do. And finally gave us something, because they've just been putting up graphic posts on Twitter and Facebook up till now. They've said nothing, like in front of a microphone, in front of a camera. They've done nothing. But finally, they took the time. Somebody said, guys, we need to put something out here. We need to put something together here. Let's talk about the Strayer University thing. And then, Arlington, let's talk about this opportunity. I love that he said, if you're a JUCO kid, or if you're a underclassman looking to leave early, and he specifically said, we're probably going to be getting a lot of these younger guys. It makes total sense for them to try to get this done for these guys, and they probably get a group rate from Strayer and whatever the other school is called. Capella University. Capella and Strayer. Okay, they probably get a group rate. Like if they can get 100 guys to join or 200 guys, then they probably pay less per person, for tuition wise. Maybe they get a class discounted rate or something like that. But most athletes, these kids are picking communications degrees or something that's kind of connected to the sports industry. For them to actually have the opportunity to do it from their hotel room while they're, they do this online. It's like, my God, you can have that stripper you're dating up the street do it online for you. You know what I mean? Since she's going to be in your hotel room every night after practice anyway, have her take that class for you and just, kick her $5,000.
I'm not going to say anything, because I think the one thing that a lot of people have been dying to know about the USFL, of course, with the XFL as well, is what are they, how much are they going to get paid, and a lot of these guys want to play because they love football. And so knowing about the paper ain't as big as as they want it to be. But getting an opportunity where schooling is going to be provided for you, you're going to get free college courses from these two universities that have online classes, man, that you better take advantage of that and take it quick. You know what I mean? Because you don't get many opportunities like that, especially from a league, because you're not seeing the NFL do that. We don't know.
Just looked it up. Strayer, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
$13,800.
Man, you better get on top of that ASAP.
That's pretty good for free. A $13,800 per year is pretty darn good.
And depending on how many classes that you need to take to graduate and whatnot, you better take advantage of that ASAP.
Well, I'll assume that's just the capability for you to take up to 7 is the max you can take in a semester, right? 21
hours, I believe, is what it is.
21 accredited hours, which is maximum 7 different classes, whether they're 45-minute classes or hour and a half classes. Every other day or something like that. People do them different, schedule different. But you might, they're probably going to foot the bill for the textbooks. And I'm pretty sure you've been to some college, right? I've been to college.
Yes, and it is not easy.
If you're taking at least 4 courses, I mean, you're talking about sometimes it's about $130 per class just for the damn books. Okay,
for the books, and then you can't sell the books back when you're done.
It depends on the course you're taking. I think I got $39 for my philosophy book.
Right, and it is ridiculous.
They weren't changing. The next year they were going to bring that volume back.
Just a rip-off, man.
Evolves every year. Obviously, a history book is history after that year. So
practically much, right? Exactly. They're looking for a new book right after that.
Law books change every year, and they're more expensive too, by the way. You know what I mean? So I love what they're doing. I hope the XFL does something different. But do you think the XFL would try to leapfrog them and say, well, it's nice that they're giving you Strayer and Capella, but if you want to go to Yale,
it all depends on.
Talk to my buddy over at Oxford, Cambridge. You know what I mean?
I'm ready to see the pettiness come out. I'm ready to see the petty come out, and I'm ready to see the shade thrown.
Or what The Rock says, you know what? Screw all that college. Let's go to Hollywood. You want to become a stunt man? Play in the XFL now. You can make yourself $90,000 a year being a stunt man in Hollywood when your career's over. I know a guy.
Film school or anything like that. You know what I mean? Those that looking into that type of realm. You know, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a program as such or incentive bonuses.
Well,
that's going to be.
We've already said they're going to go the reality TV route and all that other stuff. So they're probably going to allow the players to not only like NIL, but have a little bit of rights. You know what I mean? Hey, we're going to do this documentary. Make sure you're wearing the Under Armour stuff because, you know, we're going to give you X amount of dollars for being a part of this episode and wearing stuff from our sponsors. You know what I mean? That's the agreement. So I think they're going to kind of.
Especially with that tequila that he got, and it's going and it's growing, baby. I mean, it is amazing with that tequila stuff that he has.
Okay, so how much do you know about Jägermeister? So did you really look into this deal? Because I've not only looked into the deal, but I've been in the liquor industry for a long time. I know a lot about the Jägermeister company.
Oh my God, Jägermeister! I will fool it every now and again, man.
Well, I don't personally like Jägermeister the drink. Okay, it's not my cup of tea per se or cup of Jaeger. But what I will say is that Jägermeister was a test. I don't know if you ever knew this. The guy that owns Jägermeister is the same guy that owns Grey Goose. And he invented Jägermeister as a request from a college fraternity that said, can you make us like some sort of liquor that tastes like the green NyQuil? All right, it's like something that's bad. It's like the green NyQuil challenge, but it's not going to send you to the hospital every time you drink it, right? So that's what he launched Jägermeister off of, was a popular college fraternity request, and it blew up from there. And then his second theory was, well, shit, if I can market this in, you know, age-appropriate college situations and make sure it's in every liquor store and near every college in America, and, you know, these fraternities all talk about each other because, you know, if you're a Tappaquega Day member, well, then you've got a branch in every college, right? So you're just like your buddies. But anyway, then he invented Grey Goose, and he said, I'll bet you I can come out with a vodka and put it in a bottle that's 8 inches taller than all the other vodkas, make it a frosted, high-class looking glass. I can add $20 to the price and say it's from France, and people will, it'll fly off the shelves. And he was absolutely right. If you look at a bottle of Grey Goose, it'll say like 6 or 7 times distilled or whatever. Smirnoff is distilled the same amount of times, only it comes in a plastic bottle that's not as tall and costs $25 less. That is pretty much the difference between Smirnoff and Grey Goose. If you take both of those liquors and you throw them in your freezer for an hour, pour yourself a glass, try to close your eyes and do the taste test. Tell me the difference.
Hey, right now, The Rock is living pretty good with this global deal that he got coming up with global expansion with Jägermeister. Yeah,
they're going to launch all of the marketing for Terramana, and they're gonna handle all of the production and the delivery. You know, the export of it. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
You got to get it on a truck from Mexico. You got to get it out onto a boat. You got to put it on a boat, and then you got to ship it to where people are drinking tequila, and that's like everywhere. Now Jägermeister is the go global for Terramana, and that's what he wants to do with the XFL.
Man,
they're going to have Terramana on tap in Mexico City, Toronto, everywhere.
Listen, sir. You looking at something humongous, especially with sponsorship for the XFL, man. You know, that's for it to be in just less than 2 years' time. You already got main global expansion from one of the biggest, if not the biggest, liqueur company in the world, in Jägermeister. Good grief!
And the big Under Armour Project Brahma, Project Rock, or what is it?
Project Rock.
Clothing, he's been bigging that up. You got to imagine. You know what I mean? And these are things that the USFL, what do you think? Here's a question for you. Is the XFL going to be a bigger production? Like, are they going to pay their players a little bit more? Is the talent going to be a little bit better? Is it going to be the same? But look,
I would not be surprised if they were getting banked, man. A lot of the players getting close to six figures to play, and there's going to be a point, like I told you before, someplace 7 figures is got to be in the cards. And look, The Rock is opening up for Team USA for Beijing. He's doing a piece for them.
Well, no, I don't think he's going to be there, but I think
he's not. He's doing like a video piece. Yeah, it's a video piece that he's doing. Yeah.
So speaking of the Olympics, here's a good time to ask this question. Did you see that question that I asked earlier? And this is a good thing. Let's let the people watching, if anybody's watching still, I see a few of you in here. Where did it go? Oh, here it is, right there. Boom. If you, Arlington, were to they were to say football is an Olympic sport come next Olympics or whatever, would you prefer to have it played in the summer or the winter? I personally think the NBA or the basketball should be an Olympic sport just because it's played here in America like during the winter. Like it never made much, and it's played indoors. So it's not like they're playing the games outdoors in the Summer Olympics. I don't understand why I guess they didn't want to conflict with the NBA schedule, but the NHL does it. They allow it. They allow players to take off. They didn't this year because of the COVID protocol stuff, but typically they allow the NHL players to be excused from NHL games, or the NHL takes a break altogether for 2 weeks while the Olympics are going on, because 95% of the Olympic rosters are in the NHL, and it's like, the same in the NBA. It's like 100%.
Yeah.
So where would you put football, winter or summer, if you were to be in charge of that type of stuff?
If it's since the Olympics are starting tomorrow, I think, if I'm correct, I would make it a winter sport, because the summertime they're getting ready for the NFL season, right? So if you try to put the best, you want to make sure this come out in the winter, because the only 2 teams that's going to be playing are going to be the Super Bowl teams, right? Mm-hmm. So, and you got to remember, February is meant for Super Bowl, and it probably be every now and again you'll have a week or a weekend where it begins in February, right? So you got to give 2 weeks for the time for the Super Bowl. So at this point, those 2 teams are going to be playing, right? And you'll have the rest of the league available, and you want to see if they can represent their countries, and not to mention that the game does have international players, right? So they're going to want to, and judging from what you do over at a Football World, you see that different countries are playing American-style football, especially now. So it really can get to being a Winter Olympic sport, because you got Germany playing, Japan is playing, France is playing, in Europe they're playing, Mexico they're playing. It could lead to a Super Cup.
They're big in Germany, big in Austria. They're big in like the whole Baltic area, Denmark, Switzerland type of region. They do play over there. Gideon Rice, he's a friend of mine. He plays for the Israeli team. They won the gold medal, blue ribbon, whatever, in the flag, the Israeli flag world football tournament. They won this past year. There's a kid named Eastman, I think, on that Israeli team that's a really good athlete as well. These countries, a lot of them kind of got 1, 2, 3, 4 standout players. So I think if you were to bring in football into the Olympics, you would have to – the NFL would put their foot down and say no NFL player under contract can participate in the Olympic Games. Okay, so that would basically leave guys in the XFL, USFL, CFL, these other leagues, these lower tier leagues, semi-pro football arena, this, that, and so forth. Ricky Williams' league, whatever. Major League Football,
Right.
they're going to play. They keep posting on Facebook. I don't know. But that would kind of, if you're a player kind of in that pool, unless you're unionized, which we talked about our friend Kenneth Farrow the other day in the union he's helped to establish. I would think if you're not a part of some sort of union that prevents you from taking part in these Olympic Games, and you are an amateur pro in that consideration, you would be eligible to play on an Olympic team. And I think it would be really neat, if they had remember the NBA, in the United States Olympics, they'd have like a college coach come and coach a bunch of pros.
Yes,
like
that still occurs from time to time.
Does it really? I thought the guy in San Antonio coached.
Popovich did coach them last.
But it was Krzyzewski. Didn't John Thompson coach one time?
88, I believe he coached them.
That was the year we lost. That was the year we didn't win, right?
Right. That's the year they went bronze, and so.
Son of a bitch. My guy from Washington, D.C., he went to high school with my pops. They were friends.
There was a lot of backlash about that whole team. But yeah, Jared makes a good point right here. Said, the MLB with the World Baseball Classic, that American football kind of needs to have a governing body, maybe to make a sport where it can be organized. The
NFL is not going to allow a governing body.
Right, because it's either you listen to us or else. We're not going to listen.
Well, the NCAA is the governing body for college football, and we see what's happening to them right now. I mean, they're
exactly the point.
They're
Exactly the point that you made.
With a dunce cap on, with a propeller on the top. You just sit over there and shut your mouth. We'll let you know how many teams we want in the playoffs when we meet again. Just shut up over there. We'll let you know when to talk. That's kind of what the NCAA, their governing body in college football, is being told.
Although, like you said, they're having a International Football of American Football World Championships, and these are the teams that are contenders. And they're being
IFAF. That's where I was saying Israel won the flag.
This is for okay.
It was IFAF. So Mike. So the guy that just posted that, Mike Tackett, he's played in Valencia, Spain, for one of these leagues. He's another one of your fellow.
That's awesome. That's more than amazing.
Yeah, Firebats from the city.
And Jared is asking, this is going to be the last one. We're going to get out of here in just a little bit. Can it be an Olympic sport with only being males, or women playing football have to be included? I ain't gonna lie, I like the Women's Football Alliance. I know in St. Louis they have a team to slam. But are there teams in other countries that are doing women's football? And are they doing it?
Canada and Mexico definitely do. I know that. And they are doing it in the United Kingdom. I follow one website based in the United Kingdom that has like this program. It's kind of like the NFL Play 60. It's like a youth thing and a high school thing. And they do have organized football for boys and girls. These things are in their infant steps in a lot of places. Okay.
Right.
So I think that would be kind of like participants may vary from location.
Yeah.
Like, the McRib might be available depending on where you live.
It looked like Mike says full contact. He said that it's not.
IFAF has both full contact and flag. I was just saying that the guy that's a friend of mine happened to play. He plays for both the tackle and the flag. Israeli team. They won the championship in the flag version of the IFAF tournament. That's all I was saying.
See, Jared, I know about that, the Women's Football Alliance. Yeah, I know about that league because I remember in its infancy, especially the St. Louis team, the St. Louis Slam, they were like the first champs. So, and they've had championship teams thereafter. If they want to play, go for it, huh?
I'll throw a name at you. Why don't you go ahead, look for a woman's name on my friends list on Facebook. Her name is Lisa King. Okay, she is the Roger Goodell of the WFA, and that would be a good person for you to get on your show and talk about the inner workings of the Women's Football Alliance. They've got 65 teams in their league now.
Yeah.
They're growing. They're continuing to grow. I think Lisa King would really appreciate it if you reached out and said maybe you'd like to have a little one-on-one sesh.
I think about that because, as a matter of fact, in St. Louis, I've got to be acquainted with a few players that played in the league. One was her name was Kelly Coslin. She was like the Brian Urlacher of the St. Louis Slam and playing linebacker. And I mean, she was knocking.
No way. That's Sasha Betancourt, Raksha Betancourt.
Hey, I've seen it, man. She was nuts. And
we
then,
got a DC wide receiver on the DC. They call her Megatron.
Yo, hey, I've seen them all, yo.
most championship game. Oh, we got the most wins in DC.
Yeah, I seen that. Man.
We got a team in Washington that actually wins.
Hey, when you say they got real winners, hey, that's what the Slam was saying about themselves, that they were champions more than the Rams were.
Real quick, so where the DC Divas play their home games here in Washington is the same place that the XFL held their combine for DC.
Gotcha.
Where do the St. Louis team, like where do they play in proximity?
They play at an area high school in town. They have moved like to different high schools. I know the last spot they were playing at that I can remember was a Catholic high school, and they were playing their home games there.
So Baltimore team, they play at high school as well. We went there a couple times. Stacy and I went there. Great atmosphere. Hell of a liquor store right around the corner.
The area that we were at, yeah, it was
Woodlawn High School, Baltimore, baby.
Yeah,
that was Woodlawn High School. That's where they played. But not nice for what it was. It's a high school.
Right.
Okay? It is what it is. And it ain't a Texas high school, all right? Let's not get it twisted. There wasn't 50,000 seats and, whatever. They had a nice the military branches were part of the sponsors there. You could sign up for the military while attending a football.
Wow. Yeah, they used to do that.
Yeah,
they used to do that at the games, man. I remember that. That was crazy. Wow, that is.
Here's something that we've heard other leagues experiences problems with, and that's with the inavailability of ambulances. Okay, being readily available for these games. They had one parked in the damn corner, like right off the damn the track that goes around the field. There was one 20 feet parked off that track, just in case anybody went down hurt. They were already Johnny on the spot, and in fact, somebody did get hurt in the game and had to get carted off and drove out of there. They had another ambulance pull in as that one was pulling out. And I have a feeling
replace it.
Communications with each other, and I've looked it up, Arlington. It's like $300 an hour to have an ambulance park at your place, this place that you're putting on an event at, whether it's a concert or whatever. It's like $350 an hour. So it's not exactly free. It's ain't tax money. Okay, if you're a little tiny league, but this is one of the requests from your league insurance that you have one of these on site. Well, then you're going to have to come up with the schedule to get this done. They were getting it done, and we're talking a little old WFA. If they can do it, I don't know why some of these mail-ran leagues can't do it and get popped for it every now and then. There's no excuse to not have quick transportation to a hospital if you are in the need to bring back slam ball. What is slam ball? What is that?
Wait a minute. You never knew? Seriously, John.
It's like basketball on trampolines?
Yeah. I'm about to say, man,
that was like before the X Games ever came out.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, man. But that
was like the in-between American Gladiators and X Games.
Hey, it was a mix of football and basketball, the same thing, man. I was like, that was amazing. But
so here's an American Gladiators question for you before we get out of here. I know you want to get out of here. Did you watch American Gladiators in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, you had Nitro, you had
Gemini.
Yeah, Gemini, Mike Adamle and Larry Zonka and Joe Theismann hosted and all that stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
So they had a game that was like, I think it was called Breakthrough and Conquer or Powerball. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, you talking about the game where they had to run with the ball and slam it in?
Yeah, the footballs, you had to put them in the thing. Yeah, and if you got it in the middle, you got like 2 points. If you got it on the outside, you got like 1 point.
I remember that.
So imagine okay, you and me. All right, let's just say you and me are the contestants. I'm Team Blue. You're Team Red, obviously. We're playing Power. I think it was called Powerball.
Yeah.
3 linebackers. We get to go up against 3 linebackers. NFL. Do you think you could score like any points against 3 professional linebacker football players? I don't think I can.
No, because they're running at 4.3 speed, Mach speed, man, and I'm slow as hell. I know I'm gonna get nailed the minute I try to juke anyone.
What are you running a 40 in? What are you running?
God, I ran like a 5.2 or something like that.
Probably like a 7.1,
6 point something. I don't know, man. I'm slow. I used to run fast all the time, man. Right, but
I'm only fast when it's the
terrible.
Basically,
I'm terrible, man.
If it's 5-0, I'm gone. But I mean, if it ain't 5-0, I'm not.
Hey, and Jared has it here. If you still love it, they got a free channel on Pluto TV. Pluto is free. You can watch it. American Gladiators, and I think they even show it on the network chart.
It's gotta be the old school.
Oh yeah, it's old school. It's old school, baby.
Remember, like they had those, like it was kind of like Jeopardy. How they'd bring back the previous champions every now and then.
Yes. Yep.
Remember that guy Lucian Anderson? He looked like John Holtz from Hall & Oates.
He was way too good for me, man. You know what I'm saying?
He looked like he came straight off the streets of like South Chicago or something like that. He won every time. Lucian Anderson, they were like, yeah, he had like 4 professional boxing matches, played high school football.
He was a grand champion, was he not?
He was. He was my man. Like that.
Yeah.
Was
so and look, I remember. I think the newer versions allow if you were the grand champion the next season, you became a gladiator. So, but that was in the new versions of it.
Oh, that's on some. What was that show on Stars? That's like on some of that stuff. Right?
All right. Well, yeah. Hey, before we head out, I gotta mention this because this month is Black History Month, and I wanted to make sure I put this out there. Is our for Black History Month, Fritz Pollard, who was the first African American NFL head coach in 1921. He's also one of the first 2 NFL players. And there's a trivia question for you right there, John. Did you know who the second NFL player was?
African American player.
Yeah, to ever play in the league.
I could probably guess it right after a few tries, but I won't try. I don't want to say.
Okay, all right. Because I'm not going to reveal it. It's going to be on. I'll put it on. As a matter of fact, tomorrow on Pro Football Alliance on the Facebook and Twitter and even Instagram pages, you'll see who the second player that ever played in the NFL was.
Well, how about this? Here's something you don't know about Fritz Pollard. I bet. I'm willing to bet. Fritz
Go for
Pollard
it.
lived the twilight of his life in my neighborhood, Silver Spring, Maryland. He spent the final years of his life in my backyard and passed away peacefully of old age in my hood. Now, I can't recall. I'll be honest, I never really looked up like the burial service, like where it happened, what occurred. Maybe he went back to his hometown or something like that. But he spent the back end of his years in my hood. And I saw him mix it up with a guy that belonged to the same club with me, Adrian Gantley.
Wow.
Yeah, Adrian Gantley was actually, I'm not going to call him a friend. He was like an acquaintance of mine because we belonged to the same club, and he knew I worked at the flower shop that was right around the corner.
That's what's up, man.
He would come in there to buy flowers for family members every once in a while. So I knew him from like 2 different places in the neighborhood, and he was a crossing guard for elementary and middle school schools after his NBA career. He still is in my old neighborhood as he's a crossing guard down there. He was a friend of Fritz's.
Fritz Pollard. Fritz Pollard, he did play 6 seasons in the NFL. The first year that he played with the Akron Pros, They did win the league's championship at the time known as the American Professional Football Association. He was a quarterback and running back for the team, and then the next year, he was a co-head coach of the Akron Pros, and I think it said that they went 8-3-1 in that season. And after his NFL career, I think they became the NFL in the 1922. I think is when the year that they first started becoming that.
Think about that though. Think about America in 1922. I mean, that's before the Buffalo Soldiers. Okay, I believe because the Buffalo Soldiers were a World War II unit.
They were, that was a 2 unit.
But the World War I unit, the Harlem.
No, that was 1 unit. That was
Harlem Hellfighters. The Harlem Hellfighters were essentially an all-black unit in World War I. Went over to fight for America. Some actually decided to stay in the United Kingdom after the war because they just felt it was better. But we're talking about those days, 1922.
That was the Civil War. That was way before that. So
the Civil War was 1860s.
But that's with with the Buffalo Soldiers. But even then,
so they weren't
even with that being said, you have to remember. I know in the 20s, the Chicago for Black America was big. You had to be rich to be a part of that. Chicago Defender and stuff with the paper and whatnot. A lot of prominent Black entertainers, were living up north in Chicago because that's where they were able to live, and they were able to. I know they faced probably the same racism as what's been, what happened later on, but they were able to live full lives out there. And I know with Fritz, I learned that Fritz Pollard, he was able to have his own, even though they banned him from the league in 26. Right. And yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure I threw out there.
Banned him.
We said what now?
They banned him.
Yeah, they kicked all the Black players that was in it. There was a couple that was there, a few of them. They had like 9 of them. They banned them from the league in 1926.
Just for being black.
Pretty much. And then, you wouldn't hear anything until you heard the name Kenny Washington.
Kenny Washington, I know.
You won't hear anything until then, having another Black player in the NFL. But
well, my question was going to be how do you know what I mean? We've all read Jackie Robinson takes a lot of credit for breaking the barrier, okay, for sports in general. Yeah. But now going back in history, we know that actually it had happened in other sports before. So my question was going to be, just to put yourself in their shoes in 1922. I mean, World War I had just occurred. They just banned alcohol sales in America, so people were already pissed off. Now you got a black guy scoring all the touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't even a passing league yet.
Right, and he scored 18 times. As a matter of fact, what's funny is that Fritz's career record, he had 18 touchdowns, 16 on the ground, and 2 in the air. Because he was a quarterback as well. So, I mean, and to lead that team to a championship, I'm like, hello, somebody,
It was big mad. Oh,
yeah.
Black ass out.
How in the world how do you take your team to the championship and you got a black guy on your team and whatnot? But at the same time.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first ever Heisman Trophy winner never played a single NFL down. He was drafted by the Eagles, I believe. Couldn't agree with a contract. They traded him to the Chicago Bears. He couldn't get a deal done there. He ended up working for like a rubber tire company, kind of like a Michelin type of company in Chicago. Never played football because he couldn't agree on the money. He said, you know what, this football thing is a joke to me anyway. It's like, you people aren't going to succeed. This is going to crash and burn. The first ever Heisman Trophy winner never played. So, I mean, okay, we know white people were bugging way back in the day, but in general, the NFL been bugging for a long time. I mean, right there, the first ever Heisman couldn't even find himself to play one stinking game in the NFL before he decided to say, you know what, the hell with it, I'll go make tires.
Yeah, but with Fritz, I think, after he left the NFL or was forced out of the NFL, he had 2 barnstorming teams, one in Chicago, one in Harlem, in the 30s, and then they kind of ran into financial trouble. when the Great Depression hit. So then after that, he started working in other business ventures, like some of them that I learned. He's doing talent agency. He was a music producer and a film producer. So pretty awesome life that he had. I know he had to endure a lot of ridiculousness, throughout his career, but he steadily moved forward, and he lived a good life till 1986 at the age of 92. So but I wanted to honor Fritz Pollard, first African American head coach in the NFL, and it's funny that that's being mentioned, and here we are in 2022, literally 100 years later, and we got one coach. We got one.
Let's you know what? We started off talking about that. Let's end with that. And we put up some names. And if you notice, I did not include Eric Bieniemy's name on that list. That was a very calculated reason. I don't honestly think Eric Bieniemy wants a head coaching job unless it's Andy Reid walking away and giving him the Chiefs. What do you think about Bieniemy? Because it seems like other guys are getting interviews and are showing up to interviews. He's not even going on interviews.
From what I've heard, that he's just done horribly in these interviews, and maybe he's doing it on purpose because of the potential, like you're saying, is taking as the heir apparent to the Kansas City Chiefs.
You've got a quarterback.
When Reid is done, he'll take over from there.
It's 2022, which means Mahomes is what, year 2 or year 3 into his new big deal?
I think he's in because when was Super Bowl, 2020?
I think he signed it before the pandemic. So I think it was like 2019 that he signed it. And then here we are. I think it's been like 2, maybe 3 years at best.
Yeah, it's probably 3 years in his deal.
Okay, so he's basically on the squad for an average of $45 million a year, but we know the cap's going to go up by 7.5% to 12.5% every year anyway. So, but his salary cap is going to relatively stay the same. That $45 million is going to stay the same while the cap gets a little bit higher every year. If Andy Reid decides to walk away, there's no way in hell the Chiefs are interviewing anybody else to take that job.
No,
they are giving it to Eric Bieniemy. There's nobody else in that building more qualified than him to take that job. And I mean, just look at the state of the NFL this week. You really think that they're going to interview Jim Harbaugh or somebody?
Right, exactly. You look idiotic if you pull that type of trigger, man. No.
So I think that's his job, and that's why I don't consider him like the major media said. Look at Eric Bieniemy; he still doesn't have a job. Well, just chill. He will. Okay. His job is going to be where he's working, unless I would think a New Orleans native, in which he is, would jump at taking the job. I think he's a New Orleans guy. Am I wrong?
Let me check in.
I think he would take the Saints job if they threw the Brinks truck at him. You know what I mean? They said, look, we're going to fix this salary cap system. We'll give you a 10-year deal. We need you. We want you to come back home. I think that would be, if he loves his home city and he wouldn't mind going back home, I think he would go there.
They would, they literally would have to come to him. I wouldn't
they would have to come to him, which means he probably would have to go. But as you know, right now, as is, I think he's happy having the top 3 offense in football with a quarterback you can't lose with. You don't lose with Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? It's like, hell, you could call lousy plays and still win 11, 12 games.
Exactly. So at this point now.
Okay, and there's another thing. Like, if he takes a job, and I talked to you earlier, if he takes a job and it's like a terrible job, like, he takes like the Texans or some crap, right? Deshaun Watson wanted him in Houston. He was probably like, fuck that. You on your own, Deshaun. And I come in and play with you. What? You crazy?
They're tough to time.
If he takes that job, look what happened to Cully. One and done. Cully had a decent year by my measurement stick. He only won like 4 or 5 games, but shit.
A lot of them were competitive. You know what I'm saying? They were competing in those games and stuff. So it was like
Vegas had them drafting number 1, definitely.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If not, within a game of drafting number 1. So I think the enemy has seen. I think he's had these conversations with Andy Reid, and he's probably asked him straight up, how many years do you think you might hang around for? Like, well, I'll be honest. I really enjoy coaching. It's kind of like my lifeline. My wife pisses me off. My sons were boneheads. They're both dead or in jail. So I'd kind of prefer to keep my fat ass on the sideline coaching because it's what makes me smile.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. As we get out of here, the 4 seasons that Eric, the enemy, has been there. 12-4, 12-4, 14-2, and 12-5. You really think that he want to leave someplace to go where he could potentially be 7-10, 6-11, 8-9?
Put together a 50,000 piece puzzle blindfolded, drunk, no
by
way.
himself, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
No, forget about it.
But you can forget it. All right, we got a great conversation today. Hey, folks, make sure that you contact our guy from Pac-22, Matt Ederton, today at 727-452-2645 and get started with your account. And also, folks in St. Louis, you can try Cafe Piazza, STL at 1900 Arsenal Street, the corner of Arsenal and Limp. Hey, John, I guarantee you, man, is that are you showing love for him, or are you just showing your tattoos for the hell of it?
Oh, I'm just trying to get buff.
Just showing you.
That's all the time I'm spending in the gym this week.
Yes.
You just saw it.
All right. That's crazy, John. This is the A Train. We are signing off for this edition of the Pro Football Alliance. Anything you want to say before we go, man?
Nah, man. I good conversation. Let's get it right, NFL. Let's figure it out. Get rid of your sham interview processes. Be real. Just be real. You know what I mean? Come on, you and me, we grew up in the keep it real era, like where the term was invented. Just keep it real, NFL. Figure it out. Figure out how to spread equality, because I guarantee you, when The Rock steps on the scene, y'all going to be petrified.
Yo, you're going to be mad. You're going to be mad as hell.
He's going to hire all of the top candidates that should have been getting looks for a while now, or some.
He going to pay them. That's the other thing.
Hey,
we got to talk about that next week.
Give him some authority. Yeah, let's break into an extended list of guys we'd like to see have a little authority. Go ahead, walk into the meeting room with their balls in a wheelbarrow. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we're gonna get out here. We're gonna continue that conversation the next week. We'll have another Black History fact as well coming in from the Professional Gridiron. We thank you for tuning in to this edition. We'll see you on next week. Take care, y'all.